Is Ben Stokes one of the greatest all-rounders cricket has ever seen? This is the question we want to find an answer to. So, let's just jump into it. Consider subscribing to our channel. It's free and helps us a ton. Thanks. If you follow cricket, you've heard of Ben Stokes. He's everywhere. If you're an Aussie, you remember his unbeaten 135 that sunk Australia at Headingley in 2021 Ashes. If you're a Windy, you remember his final over in the 2016-2020 World Cup where he conceded 4 consecutive sixes to lose the final. If you're Indian, he's fresh on your mind due to his Lord's heroics in the just concluded test. And if you're English, you remember his many match-winning contributions to the team, including winning the all-elusive ODI World Cup. Ben Stokes is many things to many people, but at the core, he is a rare player. A player you'd be privileged to have on your team. But is he really one of the greatest all-rounders of all time? Let's see. A discussion about cricket is incomplete without statistics because cricket is inherently a statistics-driven sport. And on that front, Ben Stokes seems to be nothing special. His test record, the format that he plays the most, seems to be pretty average. As of making of this video, in his 114 tests, he has scored 6,891 runs at an average of 35.15, having scored 13 hundreds and 35 50s, and has taken 224 wickets at an average of 32.02, striking at 57.8. That's a reasonable record for an all-rounder, but it's nothing out of the ordinary, especially for a player who is considered a talisman for his team. His ODI record is not that better either. He's played 114 ODIs, has scored 3,463 runs at an average of 41.22 and a strike rate of 95.68, having scored 500s and 24 50s, and has taken 74 wickets at an average of 42.39 and an economy rate of 6.05. The less is talked about his T20 international career, the better. All these numbers paint the picture of a player who is good but nothing to write home about. But we all know numbers do not paint the whole picture. Maybe Stokes is a way better player than the numbers suggest. Maybe he's supremely talented with the bat and a pace demon with the ball, and the numbers merely don't reflect his talents. So is he all that? He's a typically aggressive batsman with a glaring weakness against quality spin, and he's a fairly quick bowler with a knack of picking wickets. Again, fairly talented, but nothing that stands out. There have been quality all-rounders who fit the bracket Stokes fits in, and they have done everything he does with better numbers. From Gary Sobers to Imran Khan, there are all-rounders that have done way better in terms of numbers and performances than Stokes. So how does Stokes have any claim to being one of the best all-rounders of all time? It is time to take a brief look at his career. Stokes did not start out as an all-promising, all-conquering all-rounder. He made his ODI and T20 international debut in 2011 and his test debut in 2013. Yet it was years before he could become someone England can look up to in crunch situations. In fact, he became infamous as the bowler who conceded 4 consecutive sixes in the final over of the match to Carlos Brathwaite to lose the 2016 T20 World Cup. His early career showed some promise, but he was far from a prolific run scorer or wicket getter. Despite that, he rose to the position of vice captain of the English Test team, deputy to Joe Root. He did show glimpses of his prodigious talent, like scoring his maiden test century at Perth in the 2013-14 Ashes Down Under, or picking 6 for 99 in the 5th test of the same series. He was the only shining light from that wretched Australian tour where England lost 5-0. Another notable innings was the mammoth 258 he scored against South Africa in Cape Town in the New Year Test in 2016. In the process, becoming the second fastest batsman to reach a double hundred and the fastest to reach 250. He pulled his team from an uncomfortable 223 for 5 to a huge score of 629, and with Johnny Bairstow added 399 runs for the 6th wicket. Yet, his early career was anything but smooth, and his temperament was always in question. His reputation came under a lot of fire in 2017. Following the third ODI against West Indies at Bristol in September 2017, Stokes was arrested after becoming involved in a street brawl near a nightclub with two men, at which his teammate Alex Hales was also present. This incident led to both players missing the fourth game of the series, and a hand injury sustained in the brawl also ruled Stokes out of the final game. He also missed the 2017-18 Ashes and the second test match against India due to the incident and the subsequent trial. He lost his apparel sponsorship with New Balance over these incidents. Stokes was charged on 15 January 2018 with affray along with the two other men and appeared before Bristol Magistrates Court on 13 February 2018. During the trial, which started on 6 August 2018, Stokes said he was defending a gay couple from homophobic abuse from the other two men. He was acquitted on 14th August. The couple thanked Stokes afterwards for defending them, saying that he did not deserve being put through a trial. Despite that, in September 2018, Stokes was charged with bringing the game into disrepute by the ECB over the incident in Bristol and social media posts. Stokes pleaded guilty to the charges and in December 2018 was fined £30,000 and banned for 8 matches, an exclusion which he had already served by that time. He also lost his vice-captaincy temporarily. Ben Stokes showed his true potential in the 2019 Cricket World Cup. The very first match saw Stokes give an all-round performance for the ages, scoring 89 of 79, picking 2 wickets, effecting 1 run out, and taking the catch of Ndile Felukwayo, which was termed one of the greatest catches of all time. He continued his fantastic form throughout the tournament, proving to be a lone warrior in a defeat against Sri Lanka, scoring an unbeaten 82, proving to be a lone warrior in a defeat to Australia, scoring 89, and then in a must-win game against India, he scored 79 of just 54 balls. But it was the final that he's remembered for the most. Chasing a target of 242, England were in trouble at 86 for 4, but Ben Stokes, in company of Joss Buttler, staged a 110-run partnership to bring England back into the game. However, when it seemed the game was in England's hand, a mini collapse saw England get reduced to 227 for 8 at the end of the 49th over. Stokes kept going on, however, and in a dramatic final over, scored 14 runs, which also saw a controversial 6 runs, saw the dismissal of Adil Rashid and Mark Wood due to run-outs, and the scores were left tied at the end of 50 overs, with Stokes left stranded on 84. This tie led to a controversial super over that was tie again, and a boundary count difference allowed England to win the first ever ODI World Cup, thanks to a heroic performance by Ben Stokes. This World Cup cemented Ben Stokes' place as someone who could do the unthinkable in the most dire of situations. And he did not stop at that. Just a couple or so months later, Ben Stokes rose to the occasion again, this time against Australia in Ashes. Having lost the first test at Edgbaston by a huge margin and drawing the second at Lord's, the third test at Headingley had become supremely important for England if they wanted to have a chance at coming back into the series. England started well too, winning the toss, putting Australia in and then bowling them out for just 179. But what followed was an utter humiliation when England themselves were bowled out for just 67. Stokes helped restrict Australia to 246 in the second innings with the figures of 3 for 56, but the writing was on the wall. Set a target of 359 to chase in the fourth innings. The match looked as good as lost, as a score that big had never been chased on the English soil till then by anyone. And it seemed to be the case when, despite Joe Root and Joe Denley's 50s, England were reduced to 286 for 9, with Stokes left stranded with Jack Leach. What followed next was a batting display of the highest order. Ben Stokes, seeing no other options, went after the Aussie bowling and single-handedly brought them to their knees. Stokes added 78 runs with Jack Leach, whose contribution to the partnership was a grand total of 1 run. maybe the most important single he took in his career. England successfully chased down a target which looked unassailable, and Ben Stokes was immortalized for one of the greatest test innings ever, especially in a chase. But as heroic Ben Stokes has been on the field, his body has not always kept up. In 2021, he took an indefinite break from cricket to focus on his mental well-being and has been very open about his mental health issues. His struggles were laid bare in the Amazon Prime documentary Ben Stokes, Phoenix from the Ashes, released in 2022, and Stokes further opened about his mental health in an appearance in Red Bull's Mindset Win podcast. He detailed his struggles with mental health issues and explained the combination of feeling let down over the ECB's handling of the Bristol nightclub incident, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the death of his father, Get Stokes, in December 2020 due to brain cancer. In his documentary, Stokes revealed he was taking anxiety medication, and he also spoke regularly with a mental health professional. He said, "The steps I took were to open up to people who were very close to me, and then I went out and sought help from a professional." He has also struggled with injuries that limited his bowling. In fact, he barely bowled since 2022 and has just recently started bowling regularly in the last 1 year or so. Ben Stokes even announced his retirement from ODI cricket in 2022, citing the risk of burnout in an increasingly crowded international schedule. He last played a T20 international match on 13th November 2022, incidentally proving to be his most important T20 international innings as he helped England win the final of the 2022 T20 World Cup, scoring his only 50 of his T20 international career in a low-scoring affair. He did come out of retirement to play in the 2023 ODI World Cup in India, which proved to be a wretched campaign, where they only won 3 of the 9 group matches and slumped to some heavy defeats, including a 69-run defeat to Afghanistan, a 229-run defeat to South Africa, an 8-wicket defeat to Sri Lanka, a 100-run defeat to India, and a 33-run defeat to their arch nemesis, Australia. Stokes did score 100 against Netherlands, helping England to their biggest win in the tournament. 2022 saw a new chapter in Stokes' career. After Joe Root's resignation from his captaincy, Stokes was appointed as the full-time captain of England's Test team and brought about a change in how England approached Test cricket. Alongside England's then newly appointed coach Brandon McCullum, they ushered in the era of baseball, a term used to describe the new, aggressive and adventurous approach to playing Test cricket. Ever since adopting the method, England's Test fortunes have turned for the better. As the captain of England's Test team, Ben Stokes has the best win percentage, winning 22 of the 36 tests he has captained in. The irony is, before becoming England's Test captain, Ben Stokes had never been a regular captain of any side, domestic or international. More than his Test record is the attitude which with his team plays. It's result-oriented, aggressive, and throws caution into the wind, sometimes a bit too much. Stokes is not only aggressive, but he's also unorthodox, setting fields batsmen may least expect or making declarations when least expected. The last test against India in Lord's encapsulates Stokes to a T. He batted with grit, bowled his heart out, and his fielding may have effectively changed the course of the test match when he ran out Pant against the run of play. But most importantly, he led from the front. Under his captaincy, England went from a timid test team to one that wears its hearts on its sleeves and are unfazed in the face of the most daunting of tasks, sometimes to the point of arrogance. Under his captaincy, England have chased down bigger targets and have won tests from more unthinkable places, like having chased down 370-plus targets twice against India, or scoring over 800 runs in response to Pakistan's 550-plus score in just 150 overs and then winning the test. Has that made England the greatest test team ever? Probably not. But it has surely made England one of the most entertaining test teams where there is never a dull moment. His team plays fearless cricket to the point of recklessness, but never do they not entertain. Having said everything, is Ben Stokes one of the greatest all-rounders in the game? In terms of sheer stats, probably not. but as a leader of men who has the ability to change a game from any position with the bat, ball, or in the field, he truly is one of the greatest ever to grace this game. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. This is Cricket Archives.